Welcome back to Acting Success. And today we've got the 10 best plays to read in isolation. It's April 2020, and we are all cooped up in our homes because of the coronavirus quarantine. So let's scratch that theatrical cultural itch with the 10 best plays to read. So the first one, Jez Butterworth's Jerusalem. Now, I saw this at the Duke of York Theatre after it transferred away from the Jerwood Theatre of the Royal Court. And this was Jez Butterworth's biggest commercial success. He's now gone on to do a lot of TV stuff and brilliant stuff. And I saw Mark Rylance play Johnny Rooster Byron. So not only is this a great play to watch, but it's also a great play to read. So definitely check it out. Number 9, Look Back in Anger by John Osborne. This was his first play, and it was groundbreaking because it was the first play that mirrored the voices of the working class. It follows Jimmy Porter, who's disaffected by the way the world is treating him. And it literally changed the course of British theatre. So if you don't know this play, make sure you will at least look it up on Wikipedia and know what you're talking about if anyone questions you about it. Anya Reese, The Acid Test. Now, her debut play, A Spur of the Moment, premiered at the Royal Court, and she won numerous prizes and actually came out of the Royal Court Young Writers Programme. More on that later in the article. Here we go. Simon Stevens' Country Music. Simon Stevens wanted to bring rock and roll to the theatre after listening to a lot of, going to a lot of live music gigs in university, and he certainly did that. Country music is probably the best piece as an introduction to Simon Stevens, but check out his other plays if you haven't already. Chekhov, we had to have some classic writers in here. Chekhov was a Russian playwright, and he wrote some fantastic pieces like Uncle Vanya, The Cherry Orchard, and Three Sisters is probably the best introduction to Chekhov. It premiered in 1901 and was directed by none other than Konstantin Stanislavski. Now, if you don't know who that is, you should probably read An Actor Prepares. It's definitely important if you're trying to get into drama school. Lucy Kirkwood, NSFW, is one of my favorite pieces of her. She's got some fantastic dialogue, some really interesting characters. And this play is about the salacious media and what happens behind the scenes. Number 4, Caretaker, Harold Pinter. He is one of the best known British playwrights, apart from Shakespeare. It was a big commercial success when it premiered in 1960. Pinter then went on to write some fantastic pieces. Betrayal is my favourite of Harold Pinter's. Extremely cutting piece. And The Caretaker, much like Betrayal, delves into the dark side of the human psyche. We couldn't have this list without Laura Wade's Posh at number 3. And this, at the time, was groundbreaking as well. It premiered at the Royal Court Theatre in 2010, and the very famous film The Riot Club was based on it. Laura Wade has some of the best modern dialogue in plays, and she is just a brilliant author and definitely one to watch for the future. Number 2, Caryl Churchill's Top Girls. Caryl Churchill is one of the most influential and iconic writers, especially in UK theatre. She was voted, she was ranked by the Daily Telegraph as one of the top 15 greatest plays ever written, with Top Girls. And I think Caryl Churchill is definitely an author that all drama school students and all young actors should look at. But of course, number 1, we had to have the big man himself. It is William Shakespeare. And I wrote Macbeth because not only is it a great play to watch, but it's a fantastic play to read. This was written later on in his career, and it mirrors, some say, it mirrors Shakespeare's attitude towards James I. And there's a lot of sort of undercurrent of hatred that William Shakespeare had towards James I. And because it was later on in his career, his writing is a lot more experimental. It's like jazz when you read it as well as listen to it. So anyway, that is the top 10 plays to read in isolation. Make sure you check out the article below, and please subscribe for more updates from Acting Success Online. Thanks very much. Thanks. Bye-bye.